Hello, 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 hello. Anybody? Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you. One, two, three, four, five. I can hear you. Can't see you, but I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Dave? Maybe, maybe something. And can you hear me, Dave? Punch it in the screen on the program. Mándalo para el program, Edgar. Live.
No entiendo.
Oh, okay, there you go. Can you hear me, Dave?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Edgar, I think we got it.
All right. Awesome.
Go to multiple view, Edgar. And can you hear me now, Dave?
I can. I can hear you fine.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. All right, Edgar. We'll start in about a minute. Okay, test, Mike. Test, Mike. Mike, test. Gotta lower the volume for this. Hold on, Edgar. Now I have the earpiece on for the control room. Okay, we'll deal with that later. Come on.
Are you centered?
Mm-hmm. Looks like. Okay. Come on. Okay, and we go. Dave Sims. Welcome. Okay. I gotta lower this. Check mic. Check mic. Check mic. Check mic. Okay, I gotta lower the volume on this monitor here because I'm getting. Yeah, that's what it is. I'll lower it in a second. Yeah, hold on. No, I don't want to turn it off because I won't be able to see myself or see him. My check. My check. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, we'll start. No, I'm okay. Can you hear me now? It will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to a new edition of Mortgage Talk Live. Today, this is your host, Marvin Colon. Marvin Colon with Mortflix Streaming Services. And today we have an awesome technology and awesome company with their CEO here that we're gonna be talking. We're gonna be doing the interview, and stay tuned because this is an incredible technology for the mortgage loan originators, and he's gonna give us all the details right after this. And welcome back. And today we have a special guest in our technology channel for Mortflix. And he's going to be presenting, we're going to be interviewing him, and he's going to be presenting his technology. Usually a Mortgage Talk Live is a very relaxed interview type of scenario. So we go into a little bit of what the company, how this person founded, or he helped found the company, and how he built it to what it is right now. And we cover the technology. What is the technology doing to help you, the consumer, help the loan originator here in Mortflix in our own technology channel. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Floify CEO Dave Sims, and CEO for one of the best, or I would say the best point of sale technology, where it will help the loan originator get closer to that consumer, where the consumer can apply on an incredible application. And I would like to introduce Dave. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Hey, good, Marvin. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem, Dave. And I want to go ahead, and usually what we do is cover a few minutes. We cover a few minutes going through the background of the founder or the CEO or the person that started the company, or how you became involved with the company with Floify, and go from there. What is your background, and were you in lending before and then decided to go strictly into the technology? How do you started on the service?
Yeah, the whole thing kicked off about 8 years ago. So my wife and I we're here in Boulder, Colorado, and we had just moved here a little over 8 years ago. We
Okay.
used some short-term financing to get into our home. And then 90 days later, I wanted to get into long-term financing. So I wanted to do a cash out refi. And I knew nothing about lending except going through that experience. I used a local lender. I learned that, my goodness, I thought my first thought was the loan officer's assistant. I thought that I could make her job a lot simpler because her job, from my perspective, consisted of sitting in her Outlook email all day and emailing out and asking for W-2s and bank statements and things like that. And so my wife and I own another software company. And so, I was always in kind of in that mode. I'm a software developer by trade. And I just thought, man,
Okay.
we could make this better for all the loan originator and the LOA involved. And that was the genesis of the idea. And that was about 8 years ago.
Okay, and little by little, it has evolved into what it is right now. I see. I get emails from your marketing department saying, "Well, now we had this. Now you can do that." And you started at the beginning. I would say with a very basic concept, and your concept for your point of sale is Floify. Point of sale, sorry. Floify is just a type of questionnaire that the consumer goes step by step. A very intelligent questionnaire that the consumer, the borrower that wants to purchase or refinance, goes and fills out. How is that? How do you guys came out to that point? where usually you get the static, the static application and you fill out the information, but yours is more like a questionnaire, right?
Right. I mean, like way back when, like in the very beginning, we didn't even have a 1003. So in the very, very beginning, we collected documents and we sent out milestone updates. And then over time, just listening to customers and hearing what they wanted to see out of us, we eventually grew into that very conversational Q&A style 1003, where you can say things like, "Hey, were you in the military? Oh, you weren't? Okay, fine, we'll move on. Oh, you were? Like, can we collect a DD-214 from you, or have some follow-up questions?" And so it's evolved into this very customizable, tunable to what the borrower is experiencing, whether it's the 1003 or other things like document collections or e-signing within FlowFi. FlowFi is basically that one spot where the borrower can go from doc collection to the loan application all the way through to closing.
And how do you got, because I see on your website that you have a, a well, a lot of integrations, and I'm pretty sure a lot more coming up. But how do you got to that point where you're starting talking to these companies? Listen, look at my product. Let's integrate. How that process worked out? Was it hard to get those companies to maybe API with yours? How was that process of getting all, because you have a lot of integrations and probably some more coming up. But how do you get to that point where, oh well, this is interesting, let me go ahead and collaborate with Floy5?
I mean, like in the beginning, it was all customer driven. So I think our very, very, very first integration was Dropbox. We had customers that say, "Hey, every time a borrower uploads the doc, can Flowify grab it, and can we also push it off to Dropbox?" And that's common today, all these years later.
Hmm.
But in the beginning, that was the first one, and Dropbox made it easy. You just basically went to their website and you signed up to become a partner. The challenge became when we wanted to integrate with mortgage technology specific software companies, because in the beginning, no one would just say like, "Oh, come on in, integrate with us. That sounds cool." Like nobody did that. Everyone was like, "Who are you and what is this regarding?" So
Hmm.
in the beginning, in the early days, I would just like work the phones, just like an LO might, right? And just try to establish relationships with some of those early integration partners. Um, and now it's gotten to the point where I think just about everyone in the mortgage tech space either knows
Hmm.
Flowify or certainly has heard of it. So it is a lot easier now. But in the beginning, it was just like LOs, it was all about relationships. And the bigger the company was, the harder it was to get a relationship going,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's just kind of how it goes, I
So it
guess.
was pounding the phones, calling
Yeah.
people and trying to get your. Yeah, it's kind of like me with Morflix right now. Morflix, what's that? Well, is this? We try to be the Netflix of the mortgage real estate industry in the U.S. So it's a
hmm
little bit difficult, and especially with something is just fairly new and nobody knows it. But little by little, we'll expect to grow, and we'll see the growth hopefully next year. I know
Yeah, you
COVID
just
put
you
me a little
just
bit
gotta
behind
believe.
schedule, but everybody else. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you just gotta believe, and just like, and it got to the point where I felt like I was doing it for my friends, like our early customers. Like I really wanted to deliver the things of value, the capabilities that they really wanted to keep growing their business. Like do more, loan volume with the same staff you have. Don't feel like you always need to hire more. Maybe you can just have efficient software, so it makes it you can just do more with who you've got. And I think when we started, that was back in like 2013, 14. Um, Back then, people were like piling on more and more staff. And then a couple years
Hmm.
after that, it became a little bit rougher, went through a rough patch in the mortgage industry, and piling on headcount was no longer in vogue. And of course, now we have COVID.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you have to do a little bit more with less, and your technology is a excellent link between that consumer that.
Right. So realtors can come on the platform. It's free for them to come on. And with under the guidance of the loan officer within the parameters, the loan officer
Mm-hmm.
controls the experience, but the loan officer sets it up so the realtor, say on a Sunday afternoon, can come into Flowify and generate their own fine-tuned pre-approval letter so they can submit their offer like on nights or on weekends without, texting or calling the LO, late at
Mm-hmm.
night or on the weekend. And so that's been a huge hit. And we have a follow-on coming onto that where we have an integration with DU, which is coming out this week.
Oh,
And
nice.
we recently integrated with Optimal Blue. And so now we're expanding that capability. So if the LO wanted to, they don't have to, but if they wanted to, they could get that pre-qualification letter. The borrower could get it on a Saturday night without any interaction with the LO or the realtor.
Wow, that's nice. And what's that DU integration is gonna look like? The loan officer is the only one that'll be able to run the DU internally, or will the realtor see some type of finding, or at least a minimum approval eligible, or how is that gonna work with you guys?
Yeah, well, there's two approaches, right? So with our DU integration, so one approach is the LO and her team within Flowify, they can run DU findings, right? So they can integrate with credit, choose they can integrate with OB or not. We've made it flexible so you can go either way. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can run DU and get the findings and so forth, and then they can work with those findings, maybe use the existing pre-approval capability that's already built into Flowify. The other side of DU would be if the LO decided to enable it when the borrower is completing their loan application online at night or on the weekends, then if everything's configured just to turn it on, then they could get an instant pre-qualification letter. And that obviously
Oh,
goes through
wow.
DU for that approval, obviously.
Ah, okay, exactly. And obviously, the we use in our mortgage operation on the other office in the other side, we use Lending Path. And I think you guys
Mhm.
are working on an integration, or it's almost done, or it's about to be done, right? You
Yeah,
guys are working
we
with
finished
Wes or
last
something like
summer.
that.
Yeah, Wes, their CEO, he's a great guy. It was a pleasure working with
Yeah,
him.
Ni-
So we
yeah, nice
completed the
guy.
lending pad integration last summer. And so it's
Oh,
great. Everything that Flowify collects, we can push onto lending pad.
push. Even documents?
Yep, even documents.
Wow, everything.
Yeah,
See, I didn't know that.
it's been really well received. Like I think within the first couple weeks or so, we had over 100 integrations up and running, and I'm sure that number is well beyond that now.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. I wanna go ahead and like I told you in the email the other day, I wanna go ahead and see if it can get me set up and integrate it with LendingPad because that's our main. We really like it, and for whatever the mortgage broker need. It's just basic, no more, no less. You can customize LendingPad to whatever you want, but with that that powerful point of sales, which is Floifile and LendingPad, is just game changer. Excellent, excellent
Yeah.
product. So definitely I'll be one of your clients soon.
Thank you, Marvin. Yeah,
They,
they work
they
really well together.
and what do you see? What do you see? I always like to ask my guests, what do you see in the next 3 to 6 months in the mortgage lending industry? I know you're outside of the origination part, but you guys are dealing day to day with mortgage lenders and realtors. What are you seeing on the market? What do you see? Your prediction for the next 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. What are you seeing right now on the market?
I'm probably not smart enough to, tell
Oh,
the
please.
future in broad terms.
Hmm.
I do see more of the same. Like when COVID first hit in March and April, that's where everyone in this market was trying to figure out what they're going to do. And
Hmm.
then once people got comfortable, a little bit comfortable with the new normal, I think starting in May, like our business started to go way up, and it's been that way since.
Exactly.
And so I think this progression towards obviously more online work is going to continue. I think the I guess part of who we've always been is we've always wanted to give options to our top producers. So people got to be top producers by following their hearts and their own workflows and figuring out what works for them. And so we don't want to tell them how to run their business. We don't want to say the software works this way and you need to adapt your business to that. We want to give them
Gotcha.
options so they can stick with their existing workflows. And so I think we're going to see just a lot more of people figuring out what works for them and doubling down on that. Obviously, more online. That's why we came out with our hybrid e-closing capability last
Yeah, I
March.
saw.
We were
I
pushing
saw
for
that.
that, and we have an update to that coming out this Friday. We're launching a settlement agent portal, and so the settlement
Oh,
agents, when they're doing their closing, they can come into the portal and interact with Flowify and grab closing documents and send closing documents back to Flowify, and of course, then they can go on to the LOS as well.
so so let me ask you this, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but you're trying to position the company from strictly a point of sale service to possibly a full-fledged loan origination system, or something that combines, you know, you integrating Baltimore Blue. So that means to tell me you have PPE, you have POS,
Mhm.
and it looks like LOS or some kind of hybrid. So you're trying to become a possible, full loan origination system where everything is there, integrated there. Is that where I'm assuming that you're heading?
We're not quite going there. We don't intend to become an LOS. We really love partnering with the LOSs that we do partner with.
Gotcha.
Encompass, LendingQB, Byte, and our friends at LendingPad. So
Hmm.
we're happy integrating and working hand in hand with those folks. I think with Flowify, what you're seeing, like where we're going, we continue to stay laser focused on the mortgage industry. And some of our friendly competitors are kind of looking in deeper into the banking industry because they're pursuing a larger market with the money that they've raised. Flowify is bootstrapped. We're self-funded. My wife and I own the company. And so we will
Hmm.
remain laser focused on mortgage. And we're happy being there. And we can grow this company very large while just serving those customers ours and staying laser focused on mortgage. We don't need to go into like the broader banking spectrum.
Exactly. So you're gonna stay completely focused on what are you doing. The more that you concentrate in and focus on what you're really good, that's where you, like you just said, you're gonna grow a lot. And well, I mean, one more can I say to my streaming viewers? Flowify's excellent technology. Dave has built a great company. Thank you also to Robert. I don't know if he's watching or in the replay. He was helping us set up the interview. And my little little streaming service is growing little by little, and hopefully we can see each other later. Hopefully next year on different events, live in person. So I will definitely love that. We'll see with COVID. And let me ask you one quick question: Where was you operation internally at an office, or everybody was virtually before COVID, or everybody met at an office and then you decided, well, everybody go virtually? Is that what you're doing right
We
now, or what was it you set up before?
we had a hybrid setup before, so we
Okay,
we were
gotcha.
mostly remote. So folks would work at home and they would come into the office on Wednesdays. Wednesday was like our get together day, and everyone would come in. We cater lunch. People would be able to see each other, and then they go back home on Thursday. And so when COVID hit, well, we just said, hey, stay home on Wednesdays as well. So we were already set up for it,
Yeah.
and so it's
Ah,
been a
okay.
pretty
Okay,
straightforward
so
transition. So
very simple transition, yeah.
yeah, so when the local government says it's safe for everyone to come back in all the time, we'll be ready for that too.
Gotcha. All right, Dave. I really appreciate your time here in Mortflix, inside Mortgage Talk Live. And definitely this is gonna be streaming on all the application, about 16 apps: Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV. Go watch the replay. I usually put a little snippet for our interviews in my social media. And really want to thank you, Dave, for taking the time and introducing Floify to the Moreflix streaming services viewers, users, about 110, 120 millions altogether. Anything else, Dave? One last final word?
I'll just leave something that's been very popular, since we released it this summer was Flowify eSign. So we had a lot of
Gotcha.
customers who said, "Hey, can you help us out here?" And so we've built an e-signature platform right within Flowify, so it's seamless. We still fully and will always support DocuSign. We're good friends with them, but some of our customers were asking us to build an e-sign capability. And so it's live today, and we're continuing to enhance it and build it out, and people should come check it out.
Is that your own proprietary technology or you're white labeling something else, or is that yours?
It's ours. We built it from the ground up,
Oh,
and so
excellent.
it's really seamless. It merges in really, really well, and we don't have to, collect royalties or anything like that to pay off to another vendor. And so this way, we're able to just offer it free within the platform. It's pretty fun.
Nice. I'll definitely be trying that once I start with Flowify pretty soon here. And excellent technology for those loan officers. I highly recommend it. It will integrate definitely with the best LOSs in the market. Mine is LendingPad. Uh, Shout out to our friends in LendingPad. And definitely great people, Flowify. And thank you, Dave, for being live here in Mortgage Talk Live today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, Marvin. It's going to be great. I'm going to be watching lots and lots of Mortflix.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll be streaming this interview pretty soon, 24/7 in all the Moreflix streaming services app. This was Marvin Colon with Dave Sims from Floify. Thank you.